Hi Scorpio, this is Leah with Half Moon Tarot. I will be doing your November 2022 reading. I've already meditated over the cards and asked that Spirit bring whatever is necessary for you to know, hear, expect, and be prepared for. Okay, so in the meditation, the Seven of Wands comes up, followed by the King of Coins, followed by the Fool card. Okay. And for some of my Scorpios, you're going to be in high demand this month, all right? And sometimes we don't really know how to accept or receive that. And the King of Coins comes in as like, let people do things for you. Let them spoil you. Let them, when they really ask, is there anything you want? Is there anything you need? Like, let it be known what it is that you want and you need. The Fool card indicates that you are coming into a space of things you've never experienced before, okay? So don't let past traumas or past experiences come and ruin this new experience for you, okay? Really sink down into that experience of being done for and really be able, really sitting in a space of receiving it, okay? For other Scorpios, you are overdoing it in November 2022. If the first part of the reading doesn't resonate with you, maybe the second part of the reading will resonate with you, okay? So for some of my other Scorpios, you're doing too much. All right, November 2022, you're doing too much, which is going to result in you being exhausted. Not only mentally, you're going to be exhausted physically, you're going to be exhausted spiritually, emotionally. All of the bodies are going to be tired, which is going to force you into a space of having to rest, force you into a space of having to. Okay, whatever it is, you're going to have to. It's not because you get to, it's because you're going to have to. So if you are going hard and you're trying to get something accomplished, make sure that it makes sense. You're not overworking yourself so that you don't have to work in the future, right? That's not how it works. You don't overwork yourself so that you don't have to work in the future. You're going to overwork yourself so you have to not work. Okay? And this is going to be, again, something new. This is going to be a new experience for you, Scorpio. Like having to sit this one out. Some people will work ourselves out of a blessing trying to get to the goal, right? Trying to accomplish things quickly so that we can get to the goal, and we've already outworked ourselves out of a blessing. Something that is going to relieve us, something that is going to put us in a space of not having to do everything, not having to wear every hat, right? So don't overwork yourself out of your blessing this month, okay? All right, so let's get into the November 2022 reading. All right, Scorpio, my goodness. What does Scorpio need to hear, expect, be prepared for? Let's see, Scorpio, November 2022. All right, so the cards that come up, you have the Justice card, followed by the Seven of Coins, followed by the Three of Rods. Okay. Let me wrap my mind around this. I think this month, Scorpios are striving for balance, right? And that has been something that might have been in the past a little bit rough for us Scorpios, because everything is so calculated, right? We are a calculated sign, but also we're a very flowy sign, and we go with the flow, but we go where it feels good, right? And I believe that at this point, we are striving for that balance. And what Spirit comes through and says, you're striving for the balance. You're striving for the balance in the good, right? Or the balance in the good and the bad, right? There has to be a mix of both for life to really happen. Okay. And it's all about where you put your energy. Are you putting your energy in the good and it's outweighing the bad? Or are you putting your energy into the bad and it's outweighing the good? It's really a back and forth type of deal that we're having. Now, in particular, the cards are coming out weighing the bad out of the good. Okay. And maybe that's where we've been in the past. Maybe that's where we are right now. Or for some of us Scorpios, maybe that's where you're going towards. You've been putting so much energy into what shoulda, coulda, woulda, instead of putting your energy into what can, what will be, what has to be, right? And then there's this there's a little voice there. Okay, when we start to push the scales back into a good balance, there's always a voice in the back of our heads that is like, I don't know. That's your second guess voice. Okay. Now, with the three of rods, it's like, I know for a fact that I'm capable of this, that, and the other. I know for a fact that I can do this, that, and the third, right? I have a goal to accomplish and I know that I'm capable of doing that. But there's also like this overtone of this voice, and it's not an undertone at this point. It's an overtone that we really are paying attention to. And Spirit comes in and says, listen, if you want balance, you have to understand what the different voices or the different, I was going to say the different voices in your head, and yes, and the different emotions behind that. What is that attached to? Right? Is that attached to past experiences? Is that attached to fear? Is that attached to trauma? Is that attached to something that you know to be true? Right? And once you realize what that is attached to, you're going to have an easier time getting yourself back into balance so that you can accomplish whatever goals that it is that you're trying to accomplish. Okay? And a lot of us, you know, we as Scorpios, a lot of us suffer in this silence, right? And it is not so much of a bad thing. It is more of, okay, what do I have to give up? What do I have to compromise? What is it that I need to do? It's like a lot of going back and forth with ourselves until we feel that we are in a space of content, right? Or do we have the peace in the decisions that we're making? And I really believe that's where that little voice comes from. When we notice that voice, that overtone of that voice, then we know we are not at peace. It is not something for us to listen to. It's an indication that some part of us is not at peace with this decision. Now, that is where it goes back to, what is this little voice in our head? What is it attached to? Right? Because if it's attached to something real and it's not attached to anything that is trying to keep us in a comfort zone, okay? If it is attached to something that we have experience behind, something that we have had real life experiences with, right? Outside of what we make up in our head, then we know that we are making a decision that we are not at peace with, right? But if I'm making a decision based on fear, based on the unknown, based on being uncomfortable, we know that that is not a real voice. That is not something that we need to listen to. It's just an indication that, maybe I am getting myself into a balanced state because I am making my fear scared. Right? I am making that comfort zone hold on to me just a little bit more. And I know that if I want to achieve a goal, then I need to be uncomfortable. Right? So maybe I am at peace. It's the piece of me that doesn't believe is not at peace. And I'm okay with that because that's the balance. I do have to have some type of pessimistic piece about me, because that also keeps me safe in certain situations, right? Because there are pieces of me that are real that are going to agree with that, and that's my indication. I've had these life experiences, and my real self is agreeing with my false self, that false evidence appearing to be real, right? So if my real self is agreeing with my false self, then I know, oh, that's discernment. I gotta move on, right? But if my real self is like, hey, we got this, right? And my false self is like, I don't think we do, right? Then you have to go with the real and leave the fake behind, right? For that moment. So the cards that come up for that is the Eight of Rods and the Five of Swords. So the Eight of Rods talks about like compromise, giving up, being in deep thought, but also these compromises and these thoughts are leading to an action, right? Like I have to actively compromise. I have to actively be in a state of pain or pressure or something to that effect in order to move forward into reaching my goal, right? We know that the pain don't always last, right? And this pain might be releasing relationships that were attached to your comfort zone, right? These relationships might be something, this might be compromise that you'll have to work harder in the future to overcome, right? You got to compromise something in order to get what you want, but you know that whatever you're compromising isn't bigger than what you want, okay? So that's the Eight of Rods. The Five of Swords comes in and says, once you start to shift in this space of real and leaving the fake behind, you will be able to see things a little bit different. You're going to start to use new language. Your languaging is going to shift. Now, some of you out there, you might be already into daily affirmations. Some of you might already be into meditation or speaking to yourself in a certain type of way, or even speaking out to others in a certain type of way, speaking out to different situations in a certain type of way, right? And all of that is going to shift into your favor once you start to make those compromises and taking those risks. Eight of Rods is also about risk taking. Not more than the Devil card, right? But Eight of Rods is all about these risks that we have to take that are only important to us. And that is the difference between the Devil and the Eight of Rods, right? So, wait, Eight of Wands, so making these compromises and these adjustments that only matter to us, that only will have us in a temporary state of pain, whether that be emotional, spiritual, physical, whatever it is. Well, hopefully you're not in physical pain, right? But we all know that when you decide to let someone go, right, there's always this grieving period, right? So maybe we have to grieve letting something go, but in that space we're going to start to see things different, speak things different. We're also going to start to hear a little bit different. There is a shift, right? And maybe this comes with our solar return. Okay, maybe this comes with the space of you're getting older, and I believe that all of us Scorpios around our birthdays, we start to reevaluate the year before and what we do in the year to come, right? There's that balance, right? What did we do in the year before? And let's analyze that, so we can make better decisions moving forward, because moving from, especially a big shift, right? A big shift is moving from one, age range to the next, right? So maybe you're moving from 29 to 30, or 39 to 40, 49 to 50, whatever it may be. There is a space where, let me start to reevaluate the things that I've done up until this time, and moving that forward into what is it that I really want to accomplish, right? What is it that You know, how can I bring in more so that I don't have to do more? At this point, it's just like I should be in a space of being loved on, going back into the meditation, right? I should be in a space of being loved on. I should be in a space of everything becoming easier. So how can I make things become easier? I got to go with the real and leave the fake behind. Okay. All right, the last card is the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is very androgynous energy, right? She has the ability to be both masculine and feminine, right? She's very in touch with both sides of her. But what the Queen of Cups does so well is that she knows when to use them at the most appropriate times, which is very classy, very ladylike. She's very the Scorpio in the hierarchy of the minor arcanas, right? So she is in this space of she's taken the good with the bad. She has very good discernment. She's very mature in her emotional stability and is in her emotional intelligence, really. And it all goes into how balanced she is in her masculine and her feminine energies. And I really believe that is what we are striving for. We are striving for things to attract to us, you know, and doing less to get more. Right? And for the ones that I'm talking to, you know exactly what I'm talking about, doing less to get more. I am not saying, you know, less action is going to get you more things. It's just like, where am I putting my energy that I'm going to work smarter and I'm not going to put myself in spaces and places just because, right? For the exposure. We don't need any more exposure at this point. Now it's time to make money moves. And in order to make money moves, there are compromises that need to be made. For us, that is going to be uncomfortable. But for the outside world, it looks like the Queen of Cups, like we are very poised in our decision making, not knowing behind closed doors, we done cried, we done pulled out the last bit of our hair, we done cursed ourselves out, we probably done cursed out some people behind the scenes, but we've done those things because those were compromises for us. Those things were no longer real for us, and we had to go through the grieving process in order to get to this new real side of us. Right? And that's where the shift starts to happen. That's where those daily affirmations come into play. That's where the meditations come into play. But people don't know that we've gone through these things and we've shown up as the Queen of Cups. We've shown up classy. We've shown up with discernment because we really did the work, right? We did the work, and the work is private. That's another thing about the Queen of Cups. She's very private with every aspect of her life. Right? We've done the work, but it didn't need to be plastered all over the place. Okay? So it could be done in private and still be effective. It's actually more efficient and effective for you to go through your compromise for your grieving period in private. Okay? It is nobody's business what is happening. Okay, as long as what is happening for you is putting you in a space of real and not in the space of being in a comfort zone, of being in fear and listening to that little voice with the big overtone. All right, where is it coming from? What is it attached to? These are going to be spaces and places that are going to make your decision making a hell of a lot easier. Okay. So, Scorpio, that was your November 2022 reading. If you liked the video, press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe because I'm back. All right. So, I'll see y'all next month. Bye.